Okay. Moving on. A lot of news to cover. I am beginning to think that the selection of Kavanaugh over other candidates may have been a brilliant tactical move by Trump. Again, you know me, I don't golden calf anyone, Trump included.
Yeah.
There's a screw up. We're happy to highlight it in the interest of the audience getting the information out there, right? But I think President Trump is frequently attacked by his critics, even some in the conservative movement, under the illusion that he is he's basically impulsive and doesn't think decisions out. And I disagree. I explained to you yesterday what I thought the significance of the executive order on immigration was, how he just smoked them on that one, completely beat his critics down on that one. And I think the selection of Kavanaugh was genius. I'm going to explain this in a minute. Now, you know where I stand. My personal favorite was Mike Lee. I thought he was I know there's some disagreement amongst you out there, but I'm sorry. I'm behind him 100%. I think he was the best choice, hands down. But didn't work out. Now, given the final four, it was Kethledge, Hardiman, Coney, Barrett, and Kavanaugh. I thought of that group, Amy Coney Barrett, I thought was the best selection for conservatism.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I know you did. We chatted about this. Now I'm starting to think Trump, again, even got me on this one. Listen, I'm a humble cat, folks. I am. Whether I'm always honored to be here, but when I'm wrong, I think I was wrong. And let me explain why. Coney Barrett, I think, by far was the most conservative, and I don't know any of them. I'm just basing it on people I trust who've done pretty thorough vetting and analyses of these candidates for the Supreme Court. I thought Coney Barrett, based on her answers on prior vetting process, I thought she was the most conservative, especially on some of the social issues. I'm not saying Kavanaugh's not. I want to be clear on this, and I'm not saying I won't support it. Not that, it doesn't matter. I don't get a vote on it anyway, but you listen to my show, I owe you an opinion. But it was brilliant. Why? Here's the thing, folks. The Senate polling for the midterm 2018 elections coming up in November is turning dramatically in the Republicans' direction. Now, right now, we have 51. And really, effectively, Joe, we only have 50 because John McCain is ill. We only have 50, which would mean Pence. We'd need Pence here to vote as the vice president, the tiebreaker in here. We would need, especially if one of them defects, and depending on what happens with the Democrats, we may need Pence to produce. You have Collins and Murkowski, who are always, the rhinos who are always up in the air with these votes. They're alleged Republicans, but you can never really trust them. Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. So what I'm trying to get at is the vote's going to be tight either way on Kavanaugh. Right. Trump understood this. He had to understand this in advance, but now he sees the polling going in the opposite direction. What does it have to do with this? I will bet you he's figuring, okay, Anthony Kennedy, he understands the leftist game, okay, Joe? The leftist game is always going to be identity politics, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Kennedy is not a woman, nor is Anthony Kennedy black or Hispanic. He is a white male. Now, again, I don't give a hoot about any of that crap. And neither should any Republican, but I think tactically speaking, Trump understands the identity politics game and understands that Kennedy being a white male, that he will face far less flack if he replaces a white male with another white male than if he were to replace, say, Ruth Bader Ginsburg with a white male. I'm not sanctioning any. I'm just saying it's political savvy based on the left's a preemptive counter of what he knows the left strike is going to be. They're always going to strike on identity politics. So he says to himself, and if I'm confusing anybody, Joe, please stop me. But this is important, folks. Trump is a savvy cat. Again, everybody plays him for a dope. He is not. He's figuring right now, I probably have at least one more Supreme Court pick, and that's for Bader Ginsburg. He's thinking ahead, whereas a lot of people are thinking right now in the moment only. Trump's saying, okay, I've got two. I don't have one. I know we probably have Bader Ginsburg too. Ruth Bader Ginsburg's getting older. Obviously, God forbid, not wishing ill on anybody. I'm just unlike the left who would probably do that, which is disgusting. But she is getting old. And he's probably figuring, I have one more pick. Not only that, Joe, in that one more pick, the Senate polling is turning dramatically in the Republicans' direction right now. It looks like Florida, it stands a damn good chance that they can oust Bill Nelson, who's a Democrat down here in my state. That would be a flip. Joe Manchin, Donnelly, Heitkamp are in a little bit of trouble, meaning they could pad their lead. Meaning, after January, if Ruth Bader Ginsburg were to step aside, that he has a larger leeway to lose the rhino class and nominate a more staunch conservative. That, Joe, he doesn't have now. Also, the less identity politics game. Yeah. The left is saying to themselves, oh, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, there better be a woman in there. Them. So what does he do? He takes a pass on Coney Barrett now, knowing that he has Coney Barrett in the judicial bullpen in case Ruth Bader Ginsburg steps down, and also knowing, Joe, it's important that he may have a larger Senate lead to pad so he can lose the rhinos. Therefore, he can nominate a more staunchly conservative candidate for that position in Coney Barrett and not have to worry about losing the rhinos like Collins and Murkowski.
Don't make me scream like a white lady.
What the hell was that?
That was Little Richard.
Was it? Are you kidding me? Dude, I have no idea where you get these. This is Harmon. I think he sits there before the show and goes through the internet for new and interesting drops to insert into my my monologues here.
You can see your face.
I was like, what the? You know what I thought you were going to? I know, you can see, but you know where I thought? I thought you were going to the Trump one that you love so much. What is that one again? Sometimes you got to pat yourself on the back.
Toot your own horn, yeah.
Sometimes you got to toot your right. I swear, I thought that's his go-to. But that's it. The identity politics game, and Trump knows it too. And shame on me for again, falling into a bit of the trap here that Trump was playing in the present. I really think that Kavanaugh pick, because a lot of people are slamming him, and this is the only reason I'm bringing this up, folks, to give you kind of an inside baseball about what I think is going on, because there are some people who are slamming Trump, even on our side, saying, well, Kavanaugh's an establishment guy, he's an insider guy. Folks, right now, I'll take what we can get, not what we want. If in the future we get what we want, knowing worst case scenario. I know that this is not a losing attitude. We don't have any leeway here to lose anyone. If Kavanaugh, yes, he has some establishment connections, I get it. But his legal briefings are solid on the Second Amendment, solid on Chevron, solid on separation of powers. If at worst, Joe, Kavanaugh turns into a swing voter, we've lost nothing. We've lost nothing because it was Kennedy who was a swing voter anyway. Right? We've lost nothing at this point. We're at the status quo. But if he did it knowing that Bader Ginsburg, that we're going to get Coney Barrett later on, and he can get Kavanaugh right now locked in, he's basically altered the Supreme Court for a generation, because he's already anticipating that Coney Barrett will definitely swing the Supreme Court in our direction, because she is 100% no Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You copying, folks? Worst case scenario, you got another semi-swing voter with Kavanaugh. You lose nothing, because that's what Anthony Kennedy was. He was with us on some things, not with us on others. But that was probably the only guy he could get pushed through right now. But he's following the polling. So you get this? He's following the polling. He's following the likely padding in the Senate coming up after January, where he has some leeway with someone more conservative. He also understands and is going to preempt the left's identity politics game if he were to nominate them in reverse. A woman for a man for a woman. Again, I'm not sanctioning any of this stuff. I hate the identity politics game. But Trump is not dumb. He understands that the ramifications of the identity politics game are very real. They can move public opinion because the left owns the media. And by the way, I don't think Kavanaugh is going to be a swing vote. I get it. There are some issues. Mark Levin has brought them up, and he's right. There are some significant issues on metadata. Justin Amash, who's a House member, has brought this up as well. The collection of metadata. I get it. There are some issues there. But I think this was the pick for the time. And I think we have to understand in the political game, You know, it's like Reagan. What was Reagan's line, Joe? I'll take 80% of what we can get. We'll come back for the other 20% later. Yeah. That other 20% later is probably Trump anticipating another Supreme Court pick, knowing he's got an ace in the hole in Coney Barrett. I'm telling you, folks, don't downplay that. By